emagumbamane omhlaba ngemandla sibaya esigodlweni elitsitsini mhlati ngemashumi lamabili nakuthathu imbala usho njalo ke Mswazi omnyama kulabaluthuli ulodunganzaba wasembelebeleni ulodunganzaba wasemambondweni uduma phasi bakuzwe ngezingcingo msakandaba bakuzwa ngezingcingo bayakubalekela bayethe wena waphakathi.
A very good morning. Sanvusela sanamukela lamhla ekseni sayishayela insimbi esithupha lo muhla lonvuselako ngulungelele emakagula nginemnguni lapha eceleni kwami Sifiso Nxumalo. How do you do Mnguni?
Ngivukile njani wena?
Ngiphilile lo muhla.
It's a beautiful morning indeed. Starting this beautiful morning, kuma temperatures lang 11 degrees Celsius, expected to rise up to 19 degrees Celsius. Solo nje kumakhanda bangosilishubisa umkanja. Na utawuphuma endlini ba advised ke ukuthi shengathi ungaphatha aljezi belikhifita nekhifita lo mhla.
Yeah, solo jana namuhla.
I thought namhla belingeke lina but ubukeka ngathi ke litawuchubeka liphonse nje let's say imvula.
Actually the whole week in just for some temperatures vele.
Yeah.
Ngaphasi kakhulu yeah.
But we do advise ukuthi Maswati abe warm singatholwa imikhuhlane longelelo.
Yeah, kunjalo sanevusela babukeli kukhumbuta ukuthi you can also watch this episode of Kusile Breakfast Show on our YouTube page Eswatini TV. Njoba lina nje namuhla on the show will be joined by the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture Sydney Simelane to talk about water harvesting methods. Kumcwaye ukuthi balimi batati indlela tokonga imandi. Kakhulu nje njengoba inhlangano yakamhlaba lebuke tindzaba simo selitulu iWorld Meteorological Organization yakhokha umbiko ngenyanga yenkhwekhweti ukuthi emathuba angu 98% kokuthi isomiso noma ke El Nino siyabuya emhlabeni ngako ke emave kubalekile ukuthi atilungiselele njengoba emazinga ekushisa atawenyuka ngalokweqile. Sifuna ukukhulumisana na PS ngedinhlobonhlobo nje te water harvesting ukuthi ingabe balimi ngabasita kanganani noma ngabe bawabeka emandi besinaye nga 6:30.
Kanti ke sitawuphinze sikhulumisane nebaka FAO but nje sitawuqala ngekubuka ukuthi livela kangwane la identify ama big projects latawuba aligned to the sectors of the identified noma sithi nje ama key growth sectors based on their ability to deliver high impact on GDP growth. Lokufaka ekhathi ke job creation, revenue mobilization, the growth sectors are identified in the Eswatini strategic roadmap yeminyaka wa 2019 kuya kumnyaka wa 2022 include ke agriculture, manufacturing ne agro processing kula maningi. Siyatikele ukuthi FAO lapha kangwane udilisha na dot indzaba ukuthi livela kangwane li escape food insecurity kube nekudla lokwanele. FAO's assistance in the Kingdom of Eswatini sets out 4 priority areas of intervention. Lafayakati pluralistic agricultural support systems, as well as institutional strengthening and efficiency. Phindze ke kufaka ekhathi kubuketa nje ukuthi tekulima tibe ngileti Kusile sustainable agricultural productivity ngokuthi ke kube netimarket letivulekako nokuthi kube competitive industry kuboosteke domestic production and increase market access for medium and small scale producers. Siyafuna ukukhulumisana na FAO country representative Khanyi Mabuza lo tasichazela kabanti ukuthi njengoba nje sibonile ngemsombuluko ukuthi it's World Food Day ngalesibili kwaba International Day of Escaping iHunger. Masibuka lamalanga lawa FAO sawudlale inzima lengakanani kulama projects lawa beke eze ama aspirations akhe ekutheni live la kangwane nangemambala le escape food insecurity. We will unpack all of that with Khanyi Mabuza nga7:30.
Minutes after 6 kumanje asibukele thamba imbili kumaphephandaba. Saqala ngebuka e-Times of Eswatini lomhla kungesithathu. Kanti kuleti hamba embili as Senate bribery claims intensify, cops ACC launch probe. If allegations proven, culprits will lose seats. Ngekusho kwa clerk to Parliament. More on that story on page 2. Kuleti hamba embili, Sipho Shongo has been found guilty of murder. Kuleti hamba embili, Likwane saga, parents leave kids at EEC and Naga PSI. Kanti kuletinye thamba embili, list of 17 schools approved for IEP.
Kutemidlalo Times of Eswatini, the leading story is the unexpected always happen as Sihlangu Bafana game in bonuses row. Reports suggest South Africa gave an uninspiring performance due to financial issues. We actually spoke about this last week Friday. Could see the financial issues might be a problem for Bafana. Sisaqhubeka nato. Messi is the most marketable athlete. This one follows him winning the Ballon d'Or again this year. It's his 8th one. Kuletinye lethamba embili, 500 seats for Galanga Technical Center. This one speaks to plans to upgrade Galanga Technical Center, which are at an advanced stage at the moment. Those are the leading headlines. Kutemidlalo Times of Eswatini.
And your leading headlines on the Eswatini Observer this Wednesday. Judge finds Sipho Shongo guilty as he delivers 7.5 hour judgment. Judge says Shongo did what all crime kingpins would do and stay out of the crime operations. This was story on page 3. Senate bribery. We've spoken to ACC, Ngegushowa clerk to Parliament. Kansi kuletinye thamba embili, dialogue is in our DNA. Ngegushowa nkosi. Kansi kuletinye thamba embili, standardized school fees. Ngegushowa nhlangano yakasnat.
Sihlangu Stars share 336,000 emalangeni, with each player set to receive 16,000 emalangeni after their fair performance by Sihlangu in their recent international friendlies that have been spurred by football authorities who pampered the players as they were paid their allowances by the Eswatini Football Association. Great news there for Sihlangu. On another one, teams cry foul over new online system. The new online application known as FIFA Connect has proven to be a nightmare for most teams in the elite league, together with those from the national first division. On another one, Singizini Hotspur striker Neliswa Shagamieni says his plan is to work his way into Sihlangu fold long term. Those are the leading stories ku Eswatini Observer Sports this morning.
Asibuka leti hamba imbili on the Eswatini Daily News. Sipho Shongo guilty of Victor Kameta's murder. Leso story satfolakala ku page 2. Kuletinye thamba imbili, parents dump children at EEC offices over unpaid benefits. Kuletinye thamba imbili, clerk to Parliament reports bribery allegations to the Anti-Corruption Commission and the police. Kutemidlalo
Eswatini Daily News spikes out as Manzini Athletics Club coach Muzi Mabuza has been charged. He faces 6 counts for leading the petition to oust the Zakhele Dlamini-led Athletics Eswatini Executive Committee. On another one, Coach Caleb wants out of Bird's Nest. Particularly from England, Raheem Sterling, Mario Balotelli ex-dies. That one is found on page 20 of the Eswatini Daily News Sport. Those are our leading headlines this morning from Imapepanzaba Edfuge La Hlugene. Namuhla ekseni sitabahlala emakethe sitabuya sithathe indaba teswati.
Umsakazo wetithombe iEswatini TV utibophelele kuhlonipha nekulandzela umgomo wetekusakata loweluswe libandla letekuchumana eVeni.
Ngephansi kwalomgomo sitimisele kusakata tindzaba tenteya ngaleso sikhatsi tindzaba letide magama lacosheme letitsembekile letitsinza tonke tinhlangothi naletisebaleni
kusukela kutepolitiki, tetemphilo, tekulima, tetinkantolo netemhlaba wonke jikelele siniletsela tindzaba njengoba tinjalo ngaleso sikhatsi letenteka ngaso.
Kanzi kulomsakato siphindze sikulethele lonke luhlobo lwetemidlalo kusuka emidlalweni welibhola letinyawo kuye emidlalweni ledlalelwa ematafuleni kanye naleto letichamuka ngaphandle kwakuleli.
Leti tindzaba lowutiletselwa ngumsakazo wetithombe iEswatini TV.
Imizuzu lelishumi ibumbene insimbi yesithupha ngalomuhla siphinza sikwamukele lihlelweni sithathe natindzaba. Ingwenyama silo inkosi Mswati wesithathu sayitfumise live leJalimane ngekubambisa leSwatini etinhlangothini letahlukene lokufaka ekhatsi kwesekela live ekutheni likhona kufeza umgomo wakamhlaba wendvutfuko lekhonsako weminyaka wanga-2030. Ingwenyama lebekadze imelelwe ngumvane Nkosi Mshengu bekadze ikhuluma ngesikhatsi kugujwa lilanga lemaJalimane emalandelas eMalkens.
Ingwenyama ikhutsata kwekutsi tikhule tekutsengiselana emkhatsini kweleSwatini kanye nelive leJalimane. Ingwenyama ichubeka itsi leSwatini selitibeke esigabeni lesihle kutekutsengiselana etinhlanganweni letahlukene kufaka ekhatsi emavela centers neAfrika.
We treasure our cordial relations as it also gives us an added advantage to allow our countries to be open to exploring markets for trade between our countries and continents. Eswatini has strategically positioned itself as a launchpad for the markets in the region, being a member of the different blocs, including SADC, COMESA, and the African Continental Free Trade Area, amongst others.
Lusiba likhulu welive leJalimane uthi lela live lesekelele eSwatini emisebentini leyahlukene yendvutfuko lokufaka ekhatsi kusukumisa inhlangano leyengamele tinhlangano tekonga nekwebolekisa iNational Cooperative Federation.
We demonstrate our commitment to good relations between our countries every day. Our objective is a close partnership with Africa, with Eswatini, to shape our common future. I think more than ever before, we need cooperation to cope with the challenges of our time.
Ingwenyama ibese ibonga inhlangano yemavala abamhlophe i-European Union lelive leJalimane lingaphansi kwayo ngekwesekela leSwatini kutemfundvo losekholele ekutheni likhule lizinga letemfundvo kuleli kanti nabosomabhizinisi labalimashukela besekeleke kakhulu ngaphansi kwalenhlangano. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV kubika Nelson Ngamandla kunasikhumbuzo Dlamini eMalkens.
Mapalane lomkhulu ehhovisini leliphini landvuna nkhulu uMelus Masuku uthi live litawukwenta tinhlelo letahlukene teminyaka lesihlanu tekuvikela kuhlukubetana ngetebulili kuleli ikakhulu kubomake nemantfombatane. Lokho-ke kutaba ngaphansi kweluhlelo lekwenta lokhu lamavela sentansi neAfrika. Mapalane lomkhulu bekakhuluma nakachaza ngesivumelwano sekucedza kuhlukubeteka esifundzeni lesisentansi neAfrika.
evikini leliphelile livela kangwane lirepresentwa lihhovisi leliphini laNdunankulu beli-invitwe emhlanganweni lobo ukhona Pitoli. Umhlangano lobo ubitwe bakamhlabuhlangene labafaka ekhathi bo-resident coordinator bemave lasithupha kulesifundza sendansini ye-Afrika. Kuyatholakala lokho ukuthi tigameko tekuhlukumezeka kwabomake nemantombazane tisezingeni elisedulu. So ke bahleli phansi ke laba bakamhlabuhlangene babona lokho ukuthi abawabambise lamave lesithupha ukuthi akhona ukuchamuka netindlela etsite tekuaddressa lama issues. Kukhona vele imali labahleli phansi babuka lokho ukuthi nakungatholakala imali lengaka lamave lasithupha ngasitakala. Kunemali ke lengangabekisa nganga 98 million US dollars letawuhleshulwa ihleshulwe kulamave lasithupha lakangwane nje nalo lingilelinye lalamave litawubenefita khona ke babuke ukuthi mhlawumbe lengatholwa lakangwane kungaba imali lenganga 10.4 million US dollars. Le mali ke itawusebenta for iminyaka lengu5. Le mali ke itawubuka letinhlelo letitawusukunyiswa ukuthi bomake nemantombazana labahlukubetekile bangasitakala njani.
Mapalane lomkhulu etiko letekulima Sydney Simelane uthi kunemibiko leseyanze netinkhundla tekuchumana lengasiyonani liciniso ekutheni ke litiko ngekubambisana nelibhange lemhlaba iWorld Bank liniketa lusito lwetimali kubalimi balapha eveni.
Emhlanganweni nebetindzaba ngalesibili mapalane lomkhulu welitiko letekulima Sydney Simelane uthi bakhatsatekile balitiko ngemibiko labayibona yanza netinkhundla tekuchumana lethi litiko letekulima liniketa lusito kubo balimi belive bibambisene naye iWorld Bank neInternational Monetary Fund.
Kwendeki ke lokuthi kuthiwa ukayithola imali kuthiwa imali soyitholile batakuniketa but lokufuna ukwende wena kufuna ufake i-registration fee. Lapha nje nasibuka kule ndlela labayibita ngayo la isuka ku150 US dollars for individual ibe ngu300 US dollars for ma-cooperatives and then bese kuba for ama-groups latsite nje latisebentelako lamancanyana ibe ngu250 na. Manje ke sibuka ke lokho ukuthi kulesikhathi lesi sive si desperate for ama-resources kunebantu labatakwenza kuganga ngesive lokunje. Sifuna kucwayisa ke siveni sengwenyama ukuthi kulo mafunds lelitiko lelinawo kude umuntu lotawuthi khipha imali lengaka uto register litiko alikwendi lokho.
Simelane uphenze wacela sive seMaswati lesike sayibona lemibiko ukuthi sithinzane nelitiko ngaphambi kwekuthi sikhiphe le mali lefunekako enombolweni lesi 24042732 24042732 etindzabeni Eswatini TV kubika Samkelswe Khoza Sembabane.
Luhlelo lolwentiwa libhangele elikhulu kuleli Central Bank of Eswatini lekubutsa imininingwane yekusebenta kwetimali yemabhange yakuleli ekusebentisa ke tebuchwephesha kanye netinhlangano letingesiwe emabhange i-Cross Border Foreign Exchange Reporting System salitawusita ekutheni nasekwakhiwa imitsetfo noma imigomo leyengamele kusebenta kwetimali kuleli ibe nguleyo letawucinisekisa kuthuthuka kwemnotfo. Lokhu kuvetwa lisekelala lobukete licwaningo lwetimali kuleli bhange eZandile Simelane.
Embikweni wetimali wemnyaka waleli bhange wanga 2022-2023 livetile ukuthi linalo luhlelo lolutawuthuthukisa tekubutsa imininingwane. Lisekela lalobukete licwaningo lwetimali kuleli bhange eZandile Simelane lichaza kabanti ngebumgcokwa baloluhlelo.
Le system i-Central Bank i-implemente kanye nemabhange lekungiwo la reporta kakhulu kule system kanye nekubambisana letinye tihlobo tetfu letifana ekhatsi i-Reserve Bank of South Africa nalamanye ma-central banks kule region. So le information lechamuka kulamabhange iyasita ekuthenini i-Central Bank ikhone kubona ngalokuphelele kokuthi tihamba kanjani, tiphuma kanjani timali eveni, tingena kanjani, titsini tincumo letingathathwa yi-Central Bank ekuthenini tisite ekuthenini sithuthukise umnotho, sithuthukise kwenta ibhizinisi eSwatini lokungathi banemthelela lemihle kule mnotho waseSwatini.
Ngekusho kwe-Central Bank lolu lihlelo lungiletinye tetinhlelo letiningi letentiwa ngilo lelibhange kutfutfukisa nekucinisa tinhlelo letitawugcina tisita onkhe emaswati asasebentisa timali kuleli. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV kubika Nelisiwe Ndlangamandla kunavuma inkhosi Nzinisa Embabane.
Mapalane weParliamente Benedict Xaba uthi kusetandleni temaswati kushintsha umtsetfo wekukhetsa timphunga tikhetfwa yindlu yabayesikhulu kute-ke kunciphele tinsolo letiba khona tekubhashisana. Xaba uthi lo msebenti walokukhetfwa kwetimphunga iParliamente uhambisa kahle.
Kulomhlangano nebetindzaba lobanjelwe lapha eParliamente ngalesibili ubanjwa nguye mapalane wayo iParliamente Benedict Xaba uvetile ukuthi lo msebenzi wekukhetfwa kwato timphunga letilishumi tikhetfwa ngiyo indlu yabayesikhulu ngekusho kwabo nangagunyatwa nguye umtsetfosisekelo welive nayo iSenate Elections Act wemnyaka wa 2013 lo msebenzi bona bayiParliamente bawuhambise kahle.
Kude lokulethiwe eofisini la returning officer normal office la clerk to parliament ukuthi kukhona umkhonyovu noma bugebengu lobonakala benteka ngaleyo ndlela ke sithanza lokuthi sicondzise esiveni sonke semaswati ekutheni uma kukhona lokwentekile noma lesingakufaka ukuthi kwenteke labo bo bribe siyacela lokuthi live linetinkantolo letikhona singacela ukuthi labo lababonako ukuthi kunebahlonishwa kumbe labangene endlini bangena ngendlela engafanele abavele bathathe donut nyathelo.
Betindzaba ke bambutile namabhalane weParliamente ukuthi kugwema tintfo letinjengaleti yini lengentiwa sive semaswati yini lengentiwa iParliamente.
Ngathi mina kusesivene ekutheni asisinyalo sibuye sisinomthetho awulungiswe kusale kubuya kuvotwa public vele kusimakutovotwa nalandlini ngoba labahlonishwa ngesikwakhona mabavote basuke bathunywe kule ngudla yakho akuthi lo 5 years uma siva kuthi hey the Senate Elections Act lena ungazothi isiyese ehlathini noma ipromote corruption noma ayikhona kuba kuveta esobala kuthi khethe kanjani so ayivele ibuketwe ilungiswe sibe nalomusha umthetho.
Mapalane weParliamente ke uphinze waveta kulomhlangano nebetindzaba ukuthi sive semaswati lesinebufakazi ukuthi kukhona emalunga eParliamente labanjiswe kona kude kube khona labamncomako noma ke labamvotelako lo imphunga bavele khona emaphoyiseni elive bavele ke nakhona ka Anti-Corruption Commission. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV kubika Samkelisiwe khoza nginasikhumbuzo Dlamini eParliamente.
Litiko letemcebo waphansi nemandla likhutsata emaswati ukuthi angawayekeli emanti etimvula letitfola live kulamalanga ukuthi achithekele phansi kodwa asebenzise tonke indlela tekukweleka nekukhongetela emanti. Umcondzisi weluhlangothi lwemanti kuleli tiko Makhosini Khoza uthi nemadamu elive alungele kukhongetela emanti.
Njengoba live laseSwatini evikini leliphelile licale kutfola timvula tekucala umcondzisi welihlangothi letemanti etiko letemcebo waphansi nemandla Makhosini Khoza uthi siva singawayekeli lamanti achithekele phansi kodwa atfole indlela yokuwakweleka nekuwakhongetela.
Sibe nako phela ukuthi emanti siwakhangetele ngawakhangetela kasebenzisa lona nalihlangothi lawo emathange angene kuwo amagatha angene emathangeni. Sikhutsate lokho ukuthi yona lemigcoma ikakhulu lemigcoma lehlandekile ke noko ngoba phela siyathi ukuthi leminyaka lemigcomo yokhathi isuke isebenzise lokuningi lokhathi ukuthi akusiko lokuhle noma ke lokubalekile ukuthi singayisebenzisa lawo ma-containers lawo kufaka emanti. Lokho nje longakhona kukhangetela ngako but kufuna kube nesiqiniseko ukuthi uwashile kuhlobile.
Khoza uphinze uthi emadamu elive nawo sekalungele ukuthi angakweleka emanti kude kuthi noma ngabe timvula diphela even noma tiyancipha ukhanze ukuthi emadamu elive anawo emanti.
Vele kuletimvula lethi njengoba kuhle kuhlongotwa lo ukuthi singaze sibe nabo El Nino nakonke lona lokho sitawutama ngayo indlela ukuthi emadamu ethu sibe nesiqiniseko ukuthi emanti lawo mdala tabasiphe wona siwakoleke
kuze kuthi ngalesikhathi sesomiso noma isikhathi sebulukhuni noma ebusika ukhaze siba nawo emanti lanele.
Litiko letemcebo waphansi nemandla kumanje lisakoleka wona umniningwane kubuka ukuthi engabe timvula titfolwe live kulamalanga tende umehluko longanani kumadami elive. Etindzabeni Eswatini TV kubika Samkelswe Khoza Sembabane.
Inkampani yashukela kuleli ithi timisele kusekela abalimi bemoba kude imikhicito yashukela ikhule kuleli nelizinga lashukela lophuma eSwatini ulibambe lizinga lemhlaba lelibhekekile. Umphathi washukela Banele Nyamana uthi basukumise umchuthelwano webalimi bemoba ngenhloso yokubuka lizinga lekulinywa kwashukela nekwekuthi ke tinhlelo tabo tingathuthukiswa kanjani.
Kule minyaka lesihlanu endlulile siyabona lokuthi incumbi yalabalimi labancane sebayakhona lokuchuthelana noma bakhiphe umkhicito locishe ulingane nasibuka ngelihektha nalowo wayetinkampani letinkulu. Ngilokhu inkhomba ukuthi lo mncintiswano uhlaleli chaza lelikhulu ekukhuthateni labalimi labancane. Kule hlangothi lwaluSIP2 labasekelwa inkampani yahulumende yaka-Ewade so sinako lokho ukuthi kulesikhathi sanyalo umkhicito walabalimi labancane unge-28 siyethemba ukuthi eminyakeni lemibili nalemthathu letako batawukhona ukukhulisa lelo chaza lebadlala kubalimi. Kunemigomo lesesiphokophelele siyinhlangano yashukela eSwatini ukuthi eminyakeni lemibili letako sibe sesinaso certificate lesi recognized umhlaba wonke. Lolo lihlelo lelibitwa ukuthi ibonsukro lolu khutsata ukuthi wonke lo lima silimo ngemhlabathi awunakekele futhi azame ukunciphisa bomanyolo labafakako kulawo mkhicito. Sinenkolelo ukuthi njengoba sesilicale lo lihlelo sitawube sichubeka sibachushisa nebalimi labancane ukuthi bangadilungiselela njani ukuthi nase kufike lesigaba sabo ukuthi nalo salo balingenela ukhanze ukuthi vele sebalungele.
Kutemidlalo inhlangano ledlalisa imidlalo yematubane kanye nelibandla le-High Covenant Tabernacle sebasukumisa umchuthelwano wesibili wematubane lokubhekeke ukuthi ubanjwe mhla ka-9 enyangeni yeNgongoni eminyakeni losetulu. Lo mchuthelwano utawuba netigaba letitsatfu lekuyi-21 kilometers, i-10 kilometers kanye ne-5 kilometers kanti-ke utawubanjelwa eMangayane.
Inhlangano ledlalisa umdlalo wematubane kubambisana nelisomvo le-Highway Covenant Tabernacle sebasukumisa umchuthelwano wematubane wesibili utawubanjelwa eMangayane mhla ka-9 ngenyanga yeNgongoni eminyakeni losetulu. Ngokusho komfundisi Sabelo Khumalo welisomvo le-Highway Covenant Tabernacle lokuyindlela ekhutsata abazalwane bomcoka bekushukumisa umtimba.
Baka-health baye basitshele about lifestyle diseases nabasebenzisa their technical term bathi non-communicable diseases. Lokusho ukuthi tifo letibangwa i-unfitness of the physical body. Letifaka ekhathi some forms of cancer, tifaka ekhathi bo-hypertension, bo-diabetes and many others. Lesingeke siwabale. So as a church we are saying let's come and attend to imtimba yethu siyishukumi.
Lobuka kusebenza kwenhlangano emidlalo wematubane Thoba Mazibuko uchazile ukuthi lo mchuthelwano ukhomba kukhula njengoba sewuvele uyingcenye emsebenzini lengaphasi kwale nhlangano.
Pledge our full support as Athletics Eswatini, and as far as all the technical issues are concerned, the federation will be there to assist ngako konke lokudzingekile and to ensure ukuthi when people come they have a good experience. We are happy to be coming from Imbube, a marathon. We want to encourage Banfu out there to continue.
Tinhlangano letimbili lokwe-Eswatini Sports and Recreational Council kanye ne-Eswatini Olympic Commonwealth Games Association bachazile ukuthi imchuthelwano lefana nalena ihambisana netinhlelo letingaphasi kwale tinhlangano kutsi live salelicala kumelelwa kuwo kuma-long distance. Lo mchuthelwano utawucala ngensimbi yesithupha ekuseni kusukela enkundleni yaseMangayane ucedze ehekeni lasesicunusa kanti kubhalisa kutawuchubeka etindzaweni letifaka ekhatsi i-fitness zone iGables kanye nakamanzini yolo pharmacy kanye naletinye. Lobike lumsakade Eswatini TV kutemidlalo ngilinda Dlamini kanzombe kuhlanganiswa nguFabrice Msonera eMbabane.
Jason Martin lo fundzisa umdlalo we-skateboard lapha eMbabane uthi kusifiso sakhe lesikhulu ngekubambisana nalabo labangamsekela ngetimali kuthi lo mdlalo ugcina ufika kuto tonke tifundza telive.
Skateboarding has so many broad aspects. For me personally and the NGO that I run, Eswatini Skate, what we try to instill here into the kids is youth development and women empowerment. So we've been trying to, our goal is to help kids progress and grow in not only their skateboarding ability, but in their everyday life. Their commitment to wanting to do something, teaching them about how failure is part of a progressive state, and it's not only about success, but once you've done 100 falls to get one success, you still got to take that a step further in order to be able to push yourself to the next level. And that's what our goal is here, being able to give kids that confidence to say that it doesn't matter how many times I've fallen, I'm going to get back up and try again. The main goal is to be able to get this as far and to as many points of the country as possible. However, as this is the first development in the country, we want to maintain doing something here and being able to understand how the programs can work and being able to maybe reach out to those communities and bring them here so that by the time we are ready to go and do little builds and developments in their communities, we now have a firm ground on how the maintenance work, how the progression works, and how we can handle working with kids on different levels.
Asitephethe ngaleyo ndzaba ye-skateboard ngwalo muhle sibahlola emakethe sitawubuya sikhulumisane namabhalanelo omkhulu welitiko letekulima.
Uyezwana uthokandaba emagumbamane omhlaba ngemandla sibaya esigodlweni elitsitsini mhlati ngemashumi lamabili nakutsatfu imbala usho njalo ke Mswazi omnyama kulabaluthuli ulodunganzaba wasembelebeleni ulodunganzaba wasemambondweni uduma phasi bakuzwe ngezingcingo msakandaba bakuzwa ngezingcingo bayakubalekela bayethe wena waphakathi.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you'll go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom.
Welcome back. Sikuvusela nawo losanza kusivulela. Ngeminyaka wa 2016, the country experienced the most severe drought in over 35 years, resulting in food shortages. Ngaloyo mnyaka ke kwaphela ngisho emande emifuleni nasemadamini kwafa nemfuyo yamaswati lamanengi. Lo nyaka inhlangano kaMhlaba lebukete indzaba tesimo selitulu iWorld Meteorological Organization ikhokhe umbiko ngenyanga yenkhwekhweti ukuthi isomiso siyabuya emhlabeni. Ngakho ke emave kubalekile ukuthi batilungiselele njengoba emazinga ekushisa atawunyuka ngalokweqile. Sifuna ukukhulumisana namapaneli omkhulu etiko letekulima Sydney Simelane ngetinhlobonhlobo te-water harvesting nokuthi balimi kungabaseta kanganani uma ngabe bawabeka emanti batilungiselela. Sikuvusele Mngoni siyabonga ukuthi ube nathi lo mhla ekseni. Ngicabanga ukuthi sihloko lesibalekile lesi kakhulukazi njengoba sitibona nje netimvula solotiyana kusukela kucala eliviki nokuthi njengoba ngivedele nje ukuthi inhlangano yakamhlaba lebuke sona simo selitulu iyaveda nokuthi vele 98% chances ukuthi somiso sibuye futhi sikhungathe amave emhlaba. Kumbe singakangene nje mhlambe kiwo lama methods ngifuna sibele emuva nje sibuke simo sesomiso ngomnyaka wa 2016 ukuthi sasinjani vele ngiyakhumula ukuthi vele njengoba senshito nje ukuthi kwendeka imvula etiningi kwafa imfuyo yebalimi bafuyile abanengi kwaphela emanti emadamini kwabiwa emanti sasikanjani nje lesimo lesasikhathi.
Siyabonga kakhulu sasewethu umuntu akavusele esiveni seMaswati. Simo sa 2015 2016 saba sibi kakhulu. Saba sibi kakhulu kubafuyi nakubalimi. Umuntu angabekisa nje lokuthi kunemadamu lebekathe akhona ambiwe ngaleto tikhathi kuma communities kungilapho kunatsiswa khona letinkomo. But ngalezi zathu sokuthi letinkomo tasetide emandla tihambe letinye tifike tifele khona lekhathe emandini. So lesimo saba sibi kakhulu vele nasibekisa nje tinkomo teMaswati letafa tedlula ku 80,000. And then ke ngalapha ke ekudleni ke ngasetibhidweni lesimo sesomiso sihamba kanje nakusekhonyana lokulimekako tiyancenga netifuyo kube khona impilo but kungaze kufe lokule emasimini nato ke nyalo sengikhona ke te-affecteka ke manje ati-affectwa njengemanti kuphela te-affectwa nakudla nase kuphelile lokudla bese kuba inkinga ke setiyahamba ke tifuna la tingathola khona lusido le emantini ukhanze usilenye seyide mandla seyifike yabhajwa sengumsebenzi ukutikhipha bagcina abantu sebayekela nje titifele khona le ngase la kunalamanti khona tife tinkomo.
Ngifuna sikhulume nje ngalama water harvesting methods abalekile PS ngalokuthi vele sibonile lokwendeka ngeminyaka ka 2016 ingabe vele mhlawumbe kumcwanganani ukuthi balimi vele kube khona indlela labadizamako ukuthi bawabeke lamanti bakoleke.
I-water harvesting is a very good plan yokuthi bantu bakhone kwenda ema-irrigation systems bakhone kunisela. Ngidawucala nje ngekubekisa ngithi kule ndzaba ye-climate change sesibonile ukuthi even la kangwane vele kutawuba inkinga indzaba yokudla. Kuzeke kungabi inkinga sibuke indlela ukuthi singenda njani sifake ema-irrigation systems ukuthi kukhone ukuthi kuniselwe bese sesisebenzisa ke le climate smart agriculture letawukonga lamanti. I-water harvesting ayicali nje ukuthi udibekela ligcoma lemanti ekhaya emanti ehle etulu erufini bese angena ethangeni soyabeka but icala lapha ekutheni uhulumende abe nema-plans ukuthi kwakho emadamu lamakhulu eveni. Nyalo nje sinemkhankaso wekuyokwakha idamu lasempakeni. I-purpose yalapho ngokuthi le community lelendasi kubolavumisa kwenyuka udengala ngenhla kufuna ukuthi ikhone kusitakala because leto ndzawo leto tihlala vele tishayeka ngendzaba yesomiso. Sedlule ekwakheni emadamu lamakhulu lawa leswasebenzisa noma leswakha ngemifula. Lamanti lawa kunemthetho lomcoka lokhona le yema transboundary agreements lekufuna sibe nawo. Singawonga thina emanti kodwa kukhona la sivumeleke ukuthi sine quota lengaka ngeke sithathe la ngetulu kwananga. Phindze futhi nawedlula la kithi emadamini edlulela kulamanye emave kufuna simake sure ukuthi leyo portion laba allocate yona bawathola kahle. Yesibili ke indlela ukuthi sende i-water harvesting sakha emadamu la madam akusiwo lawa lamakhulu e-irrigation but lawa ngilawa ekuseva ema-communities ukhanze ukuthi siyahamba nje as Ministry of Agriculture baka-land development bayalimba leli damu balimbe bese-ke sekuthi-ke mangabe kunemfudlana lomncane longawafaka emanti wafake but kakhulu sesithagete imvula ukuthi nalina litulu ligcwalise la madamu kuyasita-ke kuwonga la madamu lawo challenge ke lenkulu ke ukukonga emanti lawo madamu i-challenge lenkulu ke kuba ke ngile silting kusho ukuthi ezilina litulu ligcina liwasha umhlabathi lengephandle libuye liwufake la khathi besaya ke ngegcwala ke lo mhlabathi uyangegcwala ungafika ubuke wena la ketulu uthi hawu lidamu ligcwele kanzi kugcwele lo mhlabathi lephasi so kufuna ukuthi ke kube nesikhathi la sibuka khona kulamadamu bese senda ke iprocess yeku-manager noma i-dredging sikhiphe lo ludzaka kuze ukuthi kutokhona ukuthi kusebenzeke luhlobo lwesithathu lwe-water harvesting litiko lelwendako nginaku lesikubita ukuthi ngema-scoop dams mancane ke wona kunawo onke vele kuthola sikhuluma sibe sinye nje sihambe simbe kuleyo community so that batokhona ke ukuthi bawonge lamanti kulesinye isikhathi kuze kuhambe kufike la khona sindlala iplastic lephasi sendele ukuthi lamanti angenofohla ashone phasi lawo madamu lawo siwabonile umsebenzi wawo lomkhulu eveni kusita ukuthi tilwane titokhona kunatha mhlawumbe umuntu angasho nje lo ukuthi kulo mnyaka nje sibuke ukuthi kutawuphela iprogram lebe sinayo ye-water harvesting lebe ifundwe ngu-European Union usakhela emadamu lang-18 in the country sizame ukuthi siwabeke ngala eHighveld kwanyalo lamadamu ngesizathu sekuthi eHighveld timvula takhona tiningi so ke mhlawumbe ama communities angakhona kusitakala so vele kuseluhlelweni ke lelitiko lokuthi kwendiwe iwater harvesting lokugcina ke lihlobo ke ngilokukhuthata ke emaswati akithi ukuthi akatongele emanti ungamangala ngokuthi emanti ayakwenda ukhone kuphila buze buphele bonke ebusika bedlule kuphindze kucala lihlobo line nangabe ukhonile kwabeka kahle lamanti lawa ke lesikhuluma ngawo la emakhaya sikhuluma ngewater harvesting yemanti lachamuka ku roof edule endlini kufuna ukuthi wente ngendlela ukuthi kube nemagatha onke right round lendlu and then lama down pipes lala hlisa lamanti ukuthi ngabe ayalahleka so uyawathatha ke lawo manti uyagoleka uwafaka emgodzini noma ethangeni mawafaka ke le ethangeni lawo manti lawo kumqoka lokuthi uunderstand isimo sawo ukuthi sikanjani ukuthi angeke agulise yini sinakanaku-ke nangabe utawenda i-water harvesting from emanti lachamuka ku-roof kokucala nje lokufuna ukuthi kunake kokuthi ukusiphi isikhathi seminyaka nangabe kusanza kungena lihlobo kuye kwenteke bese kushaya imililo kushiswa imililo kuphephuke ke le mvuthu ihlale la kuma roofs so siyayisithi ke nawe water harvesting from the roof the first rains ayekele aclean le roof uwacithe vele ungawakoleki kwesibili lokwenta lokusithi wacithe kunetinyoni lethamba tifike tihlale la itule emathailand tishiyeke lama bed droppings konke lokho kufuna ukuthi kuwasheke kahle kuhambe ke kuyolahleka masese buya ke tesibili timvula so unesiciniseko sokuthi roof yakho seyihlobile so uyawakoleka ke lawo so uwafaka ke emathangeni noma uwafaka emgodzini siyawakhuthatha kakhulu emaswati kuloku ngoba kuyasita ukuthi kube nalama backyard gardens indvuna yelitiko lakithi nje beyigcizelela indzaba yokuthi asidle kwethu meaning ukuthi every homestead must have a backyard garden itokhona lokuthi kulinywe bakhone kuthola kudla lawo ma backyard gardens aniselwa ngalamanti ke lesikhuluma ngawo ukuthi siwonga kanje lokunye ke umuntu langakungeta ngale storage salamanti ethu kufuna kube indzawo la wati khona ukuthi lamanti utawuphinze uwasebenzise kanjani asengibekise lamanti lawa adzinga kutreatwa akasiwo lalungele ukuthi ungawadla ngiko ke sithi for backyard gardens nje akahle kakhulu. Kodwa ke kunendlela lengabese ke boma scientists akithi bayasisita lokuthi singawatreata kanje lamanti kuze ukuthi atowukhona ukuthi anatheke. Nguleto tindlela lesinato lesikhutsata eMaswati kokuthi akatisebenzise kutokonga emanti.
Ukhuluma ngegubha umgodi ingabe leyo lehlobo lelo lokonga emanti likanjani? I think ngake ngambona lomnye umlimi ngalakubo libonjeni ayendile imvule kanjalo kuba kuhle kakhulu. Mhlawumbe kusichazela nje emngoni ukuthi vele wakha kanjani lo mgodi kude utoba secure uphinze futhi utokongela lamanti kahle.
Lo mgodi lona ngiyabonga nje uzongibuta ngendvo lengisebenzisako lengiphila ngayo vele mina. Embolonjeni emanti aka Water Services Corporation asakafiki kuletinye tindzawo. So kudzinga ukuthi ke vele sisebenzele ngale water harvesting. Lo mgodi lo uyawumba ube mkhulu ushobele phasi emgodzini on the ground bese kuthi la ngetulu so uyarufa uvala ngemathayela. La pipe la koleka lamanti from ema down pipes lasuka lendlini ahambeke ayocitha ke le emgodzini. Kuya ke ngekuthi ke indlu yakho ine roof lenkhulu kangakanani nekuthi ishape kanjani because lamanti la fika letulu kule roof kufuna onke akolekeke kungalahleki ngisho nalamancane. Kokuqala ke kufuna sinake lokho ukuthi uma siwakoleka lamanti letule emathayeleni kuyenteka kube netindvo noma tibi letikhona letule emathayeleni titawufika tehle tibloke lama down pipes. So kufuna ufake ifilter ke lapha etulu wentele ukuthi kungangeni into letikhulu letifana nematshe mhlawumbe netibi. Asayidlula ke manje ku down pipes sekahamba kayo ungena emgodzini. Umgodi ke siwakha kanjani? Umgodi siwakha ngokuthi siwumbe sisina sesiwumbile bese sifaka stini la ngekhathi kuphakame libonza lwestini right round sendele ukuthi lamanti angenofohla kalula. Kune tintfo ke letisetshenziswako kukhona nje ichemical letsite kufana napende. Kodwa nawu akusiye pende kona ukuthatha ukuthele ukubhuce nale plaster nase ufake plaster nakoma lapho kufana nelplastic so lamanti akasakhoni ke ku escape abaleke so ahlala nje akhona le emgodzini. Tintfo ke lekufuna ukuthi tinakwe leto sendele lo ukuthi naso umbile umgodzi wakho kubede la unema leakages khona la kutawuvuta khona.
Uvikela mhlambe nama insects ukuthi angene.
Yes.
Naleto mvule kumele sitibuke sisakha mhlambe lawo leto tindzawo futhi kugcina lamanti ethu.
Yes, kumqoka kakhulu vele but lokuhle loku surprise nako ngalamanti nawagcinele emgozini. Le phasi kuyabanza. Ubanza kakhulu so kude nje tilwanyana letingaphila khona phandle ke kwema microorganisms mhlambe la ngaba inkinga bese kagcina bangatifo vele ayadzinga lokuthi atreatwe lamanti nangabe ndawo asebenzisela for domestic purposes.
Okay, so how often do we treat lamanti?
Kuya ngeconsumption yakho ukuthi ingakanani nangabe nje linile lase liyagcwala lelithanga kufuna bese ke bakunika ke lokuthi lama chemicals lotawafaka lapha atawuba ngakanani ngoba kumqoka le usuyadile volume yakho ukuthi kule mgodi wakho mina nje ngina 70,000 liters kulo mgodi. So kufuna bese ke bakutshela ukuthi kulo 70,000 liters na ugcwele utawufaka imithi lengaka then bese ke so ungakhona ukuthi wapampe ahambe ayetulu endlini so that ungasebenzisa for domestic purposes.
Okay. Ingabe setikhona inetinye indlela nje mhlambe letinsha tebuchwepheshe abalimi la sebasebenzisa kuzama nje kukoleka wona lamanti?
Yes, tikhona tindlela i-technology iya-developa kakhulu nje vele on a regular basis. Siyanaka lokuthi tikhona tindlela tekuthi sistorishe emanti. But lesikunakako ngemanti more than lokufisa kwastorisha lokumqoka ngilokuthi wasebenzisa njani. Le wastage iningi kakhulu lakithi now imagine nje ukuthi live onke emanti lesinawo leswasebenzisako 95% wawo asetshenziswa for irrigation purposes. So uyabona ke lokuthi inkinga kuseyini sinisela ngetinyoni tiwakhipha ngala emanti kube njani kanzi i-technology seyisifake etintweni letifana nabo drip irrigation labasho ukuthi noma unemanti lamancane awaphume ngemathonsana lokunisela lapha la anisela khona. I-technology laba sivetele yona ngileyo nje bese kuba ke nale yabo climate smart agriculture. Very, very important. Thina nje siyanaka eveni ngokuthi nangabe silima kufuna singemaswati sibuke lokho ukuthi silima kanjani. I-climate smart agriculture ifaka into leti njengabo ma-tunnels, sebenzisa ama-tunnels, silime kuma-tunnels. I-advantage lenkulu yala ma-tunnels for instance ngiloko ukuthi this is a controlled environment. Uyati ukuthi temperature ungayicontrola kanjani, uyati ukuthi lolo kukhula kola ungakwenda njani ukuze ukuthi kubete lukhula la ngekhathi la ulime khona. And then lokunye ke lokuhle ngalama tunnels ethu ngiloko ukuthi uma ngabe liyana noma alini i-impact yako incane kakhulu kulolo kwendako la kuma tunnels. Kokugcina ke lesithanzela kona leswathanzela kona lama tunnels ungenda na process lekuthiwa i-fertigation. Lamanti na aphuma lemathangeni lolo waconservile abhicwe nalo manyolo na aphuma ngalama pipe ayonisela le aphuma vele sekahamba sekahlanganiswe nalo manyolo. So kunciphisa ke nemsebenzi wekuthi ube uhamba uyofaka bomanyolo uvelisele lamantini and nelukhula aluvami ukuthi lube khona kulendlela lekusetshenzwa ngayo la kulama tunnels.
Yeah. Siselapho nje enzabeni ye-climate smart agriculture. I think yimvo leyo nilidingo nje babe simalana nihlane vele nikhuthatha abalimi ukuthi abayende balime tilimo lethambisana nesimo selitulu ngoba siyathi ukuthi vele sikucukucuka kaningi especially nyalo nje lokho sekuvela imibiko yokuthi kusiyeta somisa. Ngabe niyakubona invele lokho kwendeka kibo balimi?
Siyakubona i-climate smart agriculture ine challenge nje. It is capital intensive, meaning ukuthi la ekuqaleni na usaqala kuyayifuna vele imali. Ungakhanza ukuthi nje lithanel lelibo 10 by 30 meters liyambita 250,000. So ingumbi ke imali leyo, but lokuhle ngawo lama tunnels ngilokuthi na uwa naka kahle unakekela kahle lo msebenzi le mali lo wathenge ngayo ayayibuyisa masinyane and then you begin to get ema profits emva kwaloko. Akhona emaswati kithi lese asebenza ngawo lama tunnels kakhulu nathi nje etikweni sine project lesiyendako na FAO la setawuthenga khona la 8 lama tunnels sibuke ukuthi singabeka etindzaweni leti kanjani so that abe available for ema communities. Siyafisa lokuthi sibanikete lelithuba emaswati atizamele ukuthi kungabonakala ukuthi so usitholile le skill sekangaphuma ngahamba yokulimela endzaweni yakhe.
Okay. Kulaba ke lababeke emanti niyababona nivele balimi lapha eSwatini bakupractice lokho le water harvesting noma mhlambe kusamele ukuthi vele nichubeke nibakhulumisa abalimi kukhona vele mhlambe laba sebakhona nje la eSwatini vele bakupractice lokho.
Yes, akhona emaswati la isebenzako i-water harvesting, but nje mhlawumbe angasho umuntu ukuthi la kukuningi kakhulu khona ngula sesifundzise khona vele. Sine parastatal yakithi lengu i-weight i-responsibility yakhe lenkulu ku developer infrastructure ye-agriculture even. So kuyathathwe ke ema communities bese kuhlanganiswa lemihlaba yawo seba sikelwa tindzawana letincane labatawulima khona tingatsi tabo and then the rest of the land ihlanyeleke in bulk noma mhlambe ngishuka cane noma ngema vegetables lokho laba decide ukuthi batawenda la balimi laba they are very very careful ngendzaba yemanti vele i-water conservation bayisebenzisa kakhulu la ekhaya nje ukhanza kude lote lidam I mean lithange lekustorisha emanti because ulwela lokho ukuthi konke lamanti la ngawathola at that point in time akanisele la engathini yakhe. So I program nje lanayo i-weight la isebenzisa kakhulu vele and the farmers are happy ngoba aba waste emanti lamaningi basebenzisa nje lamancane emanti kodwa tiphume kahle leto bit tabo labatilimile.
But lamanti ungatikhelela nje wena nje uvela wafake khona lemgotsini wakho noma lethangeni lakho ungadependeli mhlambe kulawo elitulu mangabe solubona ukuthi solokude etulu kani uyafuna lokwabeka lamanti naloko is it advisable?
Yes, ungakwenda lokho. Nase I-challenge yako lokho ngilokuthi nawubuka ke le cost yokuyowalanza lamanti ayavama ke la ma trucks ekuthwala emanti ukuthi bese ayadula. So ungakhanza ukuthi ke sekuyakudulela but nje nangabe unemfula lo tawuba sedude la ungakhona kwakha khona lamanti wathelele ku storage, that is a very good idea.
Okay, no, ngiyavakala sibonga kakhulu PS kusinika nje sithombe sawo water harvesting methods bese kucocisana naye ke mabhalane lomkhulu etiko letekulima siniketa nje sithombe sekuthi ngitiplet inhlobo tekonga emanti kakhulukati njengoba seyivelile nje nemibiko yokuthi kungahle kubuye somiso noma ke El Nino kulomnyaka losetulu kubalekile ukuthi balimi batisebenzise letindlela leti bakhona kuonga emanti ukuthi bangatoti khanza bakulesa simo lesa semnyaka wa 2015 na 2016. Let's take a break. Stop esichubeni ehlelo.
We at Eswatini Television Authority are committed to observing the Eswatini Communication Commission's Broadcasting Code of Conduct.
Under the code, we are committed to broadcast news that is current, free from hate speech, accurate, balanced, and fair.
From politics to business, health, agriculture, courts, and global news, we bring you the latest updates as they happen, when they happen.
We cover all the sporting codes from the football pitch to the chessboards.
This is Eswatini TV News.
Eswatini Lifestyle is all about inspiration, drive, and swag. Eswatini Lifestyle is informative and fun while covering all aspects of life, be it people, places, and trends in the kingdom of Eswatini. We got you covered. The focus is on the quality of life. Eswatini Lifestyle will spark your interest. Catch Eswatini Lifestyle every Friday at 7:30 p.m. on Eswatini TV, Sibugo Semaswa.
Welcome back. Siyakuvuselana nolosandzako sivulela sicethako ukukhulumisana namabhalane lomkhulu etiko letekulima simelane asichazele nje kabanti njengetinhlobonhlobo sifiso tekonga emanti. So I think silibonile nasetindzabeni indzaba ukuthi vele kubalekile ukuthi emanti siwonge, especially because inhlangano yakamhlaba lebukisona simo selitulu ivetile sifiso ukuthi there are 98% chances ukuthi El Nino abuya. I think sikubonile lokho kwendeka amavenda Europe kokuthi emazinga ekushisa bekashisa ngalokwecile so nyalo kubhekile nalokuthi ngalapha esifundzeni sase Africa nakhona ama temperatures abe setulu kakhulu. Sisibonile ke isimo lesifana nalesi sendeka between 2015 and 2016 lapho khona kwaba nesomiso vele kwabakabi kakhulu kwafa imfuyo njengoba vidile nje emabhalane ukuthi 80,000 bemfuyo yesive samaswati safa kulo mnyaka. So I think kubalekele ukuthi vele balimi nabafuyi batilungiselele batakhe letindlela leti tekonga emanti lokwakha imigodi nalokuthi wakhungedele mhlambe ethangeni ngekusebenzisa tona tindlela letiphephile.
It's actually interesting ngoba we're just talking earlier on the show nokucala hlelo ukuthi sitaphinza sikhulumisana nebaka FAO in about should be 30 minutes now sikhulumisana indzaba ye World Food Day. Sicubulo ke lesalonyaka as much as umuntu angacabanga ukuthi nasithi nje World Food Day sidabule sikhulume ngalokudla but siyathi ukuthi kudla kune value chain kunemanti. Sicubulo salonyaka funny enough to your conversation is water is life, water is food. Just speaking about the importance of water in the value chain of food, particularly against this backdrop of how troubled we are in the ecosystem. Pretty much what you've spoken about with mabhalane lomkhulu Sydney Simelane Lungelele. It's going to be interesting to learn more ekuthenini ke be-Food and Agriculture Organization basazama ukuthi escape yona i-food insecurity lapha eveni tindzaba temali tibathikaphetha kangakanani kwekuthi ke ngomaphi ama-solutions laba waproposako, not just to civil service, not just to individuals, but to the whole ecosystem. Kunema individuals, kunema organizations, kunema families, governments, everyone that is involved that should be compelled to play a role ekutheni kube nayo i-food security lapha events. Going to be an interesting conversation, but ngichaza ngilo ukuthi nje itawuthelelana nanayo lo menayo mabhalane lomkhulu.
Still on food security, I think PS did mention ukuthi they are in collaboration with the Food Agriculture Organization ukuthi batawuthenga ama-tunnels because besakhuluma ngendaba ye-climate smart agriculture lokuthi vele ngiyimvo vele labasola bayigcugudela abalimi ukuthi salabayisebenzisa balime according to lesimo selitulu. I think naloko nje mhlambe sekungangena sifisa mhlambe kule conversation yenu naye FAO kanti kumanje the second break nasibuya satha tindzaba tesingisi.
Uyezwana uthokandaba emagumbamane omhlaba ngemandla sibaya esigodlweni elitsitsini mhlati ngemashumi lamabili nakutsatfu imbala. Usho njalo ke Mswazi omnyama kulabaluthuli ulodunganzaba wasembelebeleni ulodunganzaba wasemambondweni uduma phasi bakuzwe ngezingcingo msakandaba bakuzwa ngezingcingo bayakubalekela bayethe wena wapha.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Let's take a look at our English bulletin. His Majesty King Mswati III has commended the good relations between Germany and the Kingdom of Eswatini, where Germany has supported Eswatini in different projects, further contributing to the attainment of the United Nations Development Goals 2030. His Majesty, who was represented by Prince Mshengu, was speaking at Malandela's in Malkans during the National Day of the Federation of Germany.
His Majesty King Mswati III has called for more business collaboration between Eswatini and Germany.
We treasure our cordial relations as it also gives us an added advantage to allow our countries to be open to exploring markets for trade between our countries and continents. Eswatini has strategically positioned itself as a launchpad for the markets in the region, being a member of the different blocs, including SADC, COMESA, and the African Continental Free Trade Area, amongst others.
German ambassador reiterated that country's support for Eswatini.
We demonstrate our commitment to good relations between our countries every day. Our objective is a close partnership with Africa, with Eswatini, to shape our common future. I think more than ever before, we need cooperation to cope with the challenges of our time.
His Majesty has also expressed gratitude to the European Union, which Germany is a member state of, for the support particularly to sugarcane growers and supporting Eswatini in the education sector, which has resulted in the increase of the literacy rate. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla, Skhumbuzo Dlamini, Malkans.
The Principal Secretary in the Deputy Prime Minister's Office, Melusi Masuku, says government will embark on a 5-year program to end gender-based violence under the Sub-Regional Gender-Based Violence Initiative. The Principal Secretary said this when giving a report of the United Nations meeting on ending gender-based violence, which was held in Pretoria, South Africa.
Following the launch of the 5-year sub-regional gender-based violence program in Pretoria, South Africa, by the United Nations and countries in the Southern African region, including Eswatini, last week, the Principal Secretary in the Deputy Prime Minister's Office, Melusi Masuku, says Eswatini is more committed to this initiative.
Kuyatholakala ukuthi tigameko tekuhlukumezeka kwabomake namantombazane tisezingeni elisetulu. So ke bahleli phansi ke laba bakamhlabuhlangene babona lokho ukuthi abawabambise lamave lamang lesithupha ukuthi akhona ukuchamuka netindlela etsite tekuaddressa lama issues.
He further says that the initiative was done in collaboration with an organization known as Spotlight Initiative after a realization that there is an increase of gender-based violence, especially among girls in the Southern African region.
Le mali kitawubuka letinhlelo letitawusukunyiswa ukuthi bomake namantombazane labahlukumetekile bangasitakala njani.
For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
The Principal Secretary at the Ministry of Agriculture, Sydney Simelane, says there is an influx of scams circulating on Facebook. The PS says these criminals are pretending to the Ministry of Agriculture, claiming that the ministry has collaborated with the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund to offer financial grants to farmers.
We want to firmly state that this information is false and there are no such grants being offered. The scam requires farmers to click on a link that takes them to an application form which they are asked to download, fill up, and then email to this bogus email address, ps@agriculturegov.com, which is not the Principal Secretary's email address. Please be aware that this form is not an official document from our ministry. Official documents are always presented on appropriate letterheads bearing the coat of arms. Furthermore, announcements from the Minister of Agriculture come through established channels, including radio, TV, newspapers, as well as the official social media pages. Also, our ministry has a clear procedure for payments related to services and will never request payment for us accessing assistance programs. I would like to urge all Emaswati to stay vigilant and always take appropriate steps to validate information before committing into any financial arrangements related to alleged agricultural grants.
The Central Bank Cross-Border Foreign Exchange Reporting System is meant to collect data on transactions from banks in a more digital way, which will help in informing the bank's policy, enhancing ease of doing business, which will in turn help in economic development. The Deputy Director for Financial Surveillance, Zandile Simelane, said this when giving details about the reporting system.
In its 2022-2023 annual integrated report, the Central Bank of Eswatini states that it is implementing a cross-border foreign exchange reporting system, version 3. The Deputy Director for Financial Surveillance, Zandile Simelane, gives more details about the system.
The Central Bank, just like other peers in the region, for a very long time have been operating under an exchange control regime, meaning that most transactions would be approved or be sent to the central bank for approval before they could be, effected by the banks. We are migrating from that environment to a financial surveillance environment where we are relaxing these controls just to make sure that there's ease of doing business in the country. And the policy decisions that we are referring to talk about the level at which you can relax those controls which is largely informed by the policy decisions that we take from the data that is coming from the market.
This is one way the central bank tries to make the financial sector more stable, as it has also embarked on the national payment switch system, which will make sure that transactions are more easy even among businesses in the country. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
The Clerk to Parliament, Benedict Xaba, says Eswatini can work towards the amendment of the Senate Elections Act of 2013 to curb issues of bribery. Eswatini, with concerns and proof of Senate seats, bribery should report to the High Court.
Following allegations circulating in different media platforms that some members of the August House received bribes from potential members of the public to be nominated and elected as senators, the Clerk to Parliament, Benedict Xaba, in a press meeting said during the election process, such allegations were never brought to Parliament, nor were they forwarded to the Clerk of Parliament, who is the returning officer.
Such allegations were never brought to the Parliament, nor were they forwarded to the Clerk of Parliament, who is the returning officer. The Senate Elections Act of 2013 empowers the returning officer to oversee the smooth conduct of the elections. Now that we have completed the election process and the result duly announced in terms of the Senate Elections Act of 2013, any aggrieved party or person may approach the High Court.
The clerk also said reforms can be done on the Senate Elections Act.
Ngathi mina kusesivene ekutheni asisinyalo sibuye sisinomthetho awulungiswe kusale kubuya kuvotwa public vele kusimakutovotwa nalandle ngoba labahlonishwa ngesikwakhona mabavote basuke bathunywe kule nkundla yakho akuthi lo 5 years uma siva kuthi hey the Senate Elections Act lena ungazothi isiyese ehlathini noma ipromote corruption noma aykhona kuba kuveta esobala kuthi khethe kanjani so ayivele ibuketwe ilungiswe sibe nalomusha umthetho.
The clerk says individuals with concerns and proof of bribery may report to the Royal Eswatini Police Service or the Anti-Corruption Commission. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samgal Suekoza with Zikumbuzo Dlamini, Parliament.
The Director of Water Affairs at the Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy, Makosi Nikoza, says with rain showers being recorded by the country, Eswatini must collect enough water for future use. The Director says local dams have been checked for water storage readiness.
It is very, very crucial that as rural households, at a rural household level or at other areas, we make use of the rooftop water harvesting techniques, collection of the water through our gutters into either our plastic tanks or in our drums or whatsoever container that we may have. But we should be in a position to make sure that those containers are clean, so that we are able to collect water which we can use for our domestic needs and also for our backyard gardens. We do have some storage reserved for these rains to receive at this point in time. And we hope that in future, as we are approaching the winter, or as they've already indicated that we might have El Nino and other dry spells, we hope to collect as much as we can, enough water for our future use, more especially in terms of drought.
The Eswatini Sugar Association says it will support smallholder sugarcane growers and ensure that they reach their potential and meet quality standards of sugarcane produce. The Sugar Association CEO Banile Nyamane was speaking when unpacking the smallholder sugarcane farmers competition and how they plan to assist them.
The intention of the competition is to award some of the 411 small growers who have done well in terms of increasing their productivity in terms of the sugarcane that they've produced. We also encourage them to grow the sugarcane sustainably as it is now becoming a requirement across the world. So it will be 411 growers that will be eligible, but only 30 are going to be awarded for various categories that we have been measuring over the past season. We are looking at awarding a grower who has produced a sugarcane that has got the highest sucrose content. We are also awarding in some of the categories growers who have consistently over the years maintained their productivity. We also award the growers that follow all the sustainable or all the benchmarks that have been set in order for a cane grower to follow when producing sugarcane. It is very critical for the association that we continue supporting them. We have embarked on a process to attain certification for the standard called Bonsucro. The standard is now becoming a requirement by the buyers of sugar across the world. We have started with the large-scale growers because there are cost implications involved in making sure that the grower is ready to be certified. We will then proceed to assist the small cane growers in order to make sure that they are also accredited under the Bonsucro standard.
As the war between Israel and Hamas unfolds across the Gaza Strip, Israeli and Hamas forces are also fighting each other on another battlefield.
On the ground, it's asymmetric, but on screens and online, the war being waged bears more similarities. And as usual, it's civilians at the center of the fight for public opinion. Ahead of a ground invasion, the Israeli military dropped thousands of leaflets urging civilians in northern Gaza to leave. On social media, a message seemingly aimed more at international observers to back Israel's assertion that it, unlike Hamas, respects human rights.
We have called on the civilian population in Gaza City and the northern part of the Gaza Strip to evacuate south.
The Israeli Defense Forces goes on to offer what it says is proof of Hamas not allowing civilians to flee. Israel says Hamas is keeping civilians where they are to use them as human shields. The Palestinian group has denied the accusation. Hamas's communications began at the same time as its attack on the morning of the 7th of October. At around 7 a.m., it began releasing a series of videos, including slick, well-produced material showing militants training and preparing for an attack. As Hamas flooded social networks, details of massacres began to emerge through footage filmed by the militants. Many Israelis learned the fate of their loved ones through such videos.
המחבל פשוט לקח את הנייד הפרטי שלה, צילם אותה והעלה את זה לקיר פייסבוק הפרטי שלה. ככה התבשרנו, ככה גילינו את זה.
Israel has regularly broadcast images of terrified citizens held captive or worse during Hamas's attack as part of its bid to win the war for public opinion abroad.
Trucks carrying aid for the Gaza Strip arrived on Tuesday at the only border crossing into the territory not controlled by Israel, a witness and Egyptian security sources said, after the U.S. aid said it was developing with Israel a plan for aid delivery.
Medical supplies, food, fuel, the tons of humanitarian aid in these trucks is frustratingly out of reach for the 2 million people trapped in Gaza. The convoy is waiting on the Egyptian side of the Rafah border crossing, which Egypt says it wants to open. It blames the closure on Israeli strikes near the site. There was brief hope on Monday with reports that a temporary ceasefire was agreed, but Hamas and Israel both quickly denied a deal had been made. Humanitarian agencies warn disaster is looming.
As far as water, electricity and fuel are concerned, according to the UN and the Red Cross, Red Crescent, after 24 hours it will be a real catastrophe. No fuel, therefore no electricity. For all of the inhabitants of the Gaza Strip in general, and for the medical establishments in particular.
While trucks idle on the Egyptian side of the border, Gaza residents with foreign passports gather on the other side, praying they'll be able to get out. Even to them, the crossing remains firmly shut.
We come to the border crossing every day. We contact the embassy every day and they tell us to go to the crossing. We wait for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours and then we go back. The journey is not safe. There is no truce. We are traveling in danger.
There is no safety. Even when you're at the crossing, you're afraid. On our way to the crossing, they shelled Rafah Street and we started screaming. We came to the crossing and thought it was safe. Nowhere is safe in Gaza. Wherever we go, there's shelling, crying, screaming, blood.
The UN's humanitarian chief says he's in deep discussions with Israel and Egypt. He'll be in the region on Tuesday to try to negotiate the passage of aid. In the meantime, the waiting continues on both sides of the fence.
Hamas's military wing on Monday released a video showing a French-Israeli woman having her arm wrapped with bandages. It was the first sign of life from any of the hostages since Gaza-based gunmen smashed through border fortifications on October 7th, killing more than 1,400 people in Israel.
The first proof of life from a hostage taken into Gaza. Hamas's military wing releases a 60-second propaganda video showing a dazed 21-year-old Mia Shem. She appears to have her right arm wrapped with bandages before giving a brief statement to camera. Hamas claims she has undergone a 3-hour operation. Shem was taken from the Supernova Music Festival, where more than 260 people were killed in Hamas's brutal massacre. Her family says they can tell from the video that she is terrified.
I didn't know if she's dead or alive until yesterday. All I knew is that she's might be kidnapped. I'm begging the world to bring my baby back home.
Mia Shem is a French and Israeli national. French President Emmanuel Macron says Hamas is using blackmail and is demanding Shem's unconditional release.
I would like to say to Mia Shem's family and to all the families that we are doing everything in our power to obtain her release and that of the other hostages.
The Israel Defense Forces called the video psychological terrorism by Hamas and said the militant group is trying to portray itself as humane. Israel reports that 199 people are being held hostage in Gaza.
Tensions have been rising on the Lebanese-Israeli border since Israel began military action against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The Lebanese militant political group Hezbollah has warned that an Israeli ground invasion of Gaza would bring them into the conflict.
As Israel appears to be preparing for an invasion of the Gaza Strip, the Lebanese militant political group Hezbollah has said that this would provoke their entry into the war. The border between Israel and Lebanon has been tense for years, with Israeli defense forces and Hezbollah periodically exchanging fire. Until now, both sides have respected rules of engagement designed to avoid triggering a full-scale war. But already in the first few days of the Israel-Hamas conflict, the violence along Lebanon's border with Israel has escalated considerably, causing casualties on both sides of the border.
Compared to the previous rules of engagements and the attacks that happened in the past 2 days were an escalation of what we've had in the past. And I think what comes next is also going to be, within the same frame, and a kind of an upgrade in terms of violence that we've previously seen. But the question is, are both sides interested in keeping it within this confined space?
Inside Lebanon, Hezbollah enjoys support from those who see it as defending a just cause.
It's not okay to Israel to hurt Palestinian people, children, and civilians. It should be military against military.
However, many also remember the last time the two sides went to war in 2006 and do not want to be dragged into another one.
Of course we're afraid. It will destroy our homes. It will destroy our country. We've had enough. We don't want it.
The likely destruction that Lebanon would experience in another war with Israel would have serious consequences for the country's fragile internal order.
If there's a massive Israeli bombing campaign out of 2006, leading to a great destruction within Lebanon, that would reshuffle the cards internally.
Hezbollah appears to have little interest in assuaging the concerns of other Lebanese. Speaking anonymously, a senior commander recently told VOA News that the party has units in Beirut at full readiness to defend its supporters from other Lebanese factions. He said, quote, "If necessary, we can take over this country in 24 hours." Lebanon is still reeling from a profound socio-economic crisis and could ill afford to rebuild after a war. Internally, the long-term consequences of war would depend heavily on Hezbollah's ability to secure funding for reconstruction.
U.S. President Joe Biden will visit Israel today as a humanitarian crisis grows in the Gaza Strip ahead of an expected ground invasion by Israeli forces.
President Biden's arrival comes as Israeli forces are staging near the Gaza border. So far, more than 1,400 Israelis, 2,800 Palestinians have been killed in the war. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke about Biden's trip after his marathon 7.5-hour meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu Monday.
He's coming here at a critical moment for Israel, for the region, and for the world. And he's coming here to do the following. First, the President will reaffirm the United States' solidarity with Israel and our ironclad commitment to its security. Second, President Biden will underscore our crystal clear message to any actor, state or non-state, trying to take advantage of this crisis to attack Israel. Don't. To that end, he's deployed 2 aircraft carrier groups and other military assets to the region.
Blinken said the president will hear from Netanyahu on how Israel will conduct its operations in a way that minimizes civilian casualties and enables humanitarian assistance to flow to civilians in Gaza in a way that does not benefit Hamas. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby told reporters that after Biden's stop in Tel Aviv, he is going to Jordan, where he will meet with King Abdullah and the presidents of Egypt and the Palestinian Authority.
Brussels police on Tuesday shot and fatally wounded an attacker accused of gunning down 2 Swedish football fans in what Belgium's Prime Minister condemned as an act of terrorist madness.
After an extensive manhunt, the suspect of Monday's attack that left 2 dead and 1 wounded has been shot and killed in the Schaerbeek area of Brussels. The gunman is believed to be a 45-year-old Tunisian who had unsuccessfully sought asylum in Belgium in 2019. In an online video, he claims responsibility for the attack and identifies himself as a member of the Islamic State.
Yesterday's terrorist attack was a cowardly act on earth. The perpetrator targeted 2 Swedish fans who were in Brussels to attend a Red Devils match against the Swedish national team. The perpetrator was a man of Tunisian origin who was staying illegally in our country.
He was known to police, and press reports say he'd been suspected of involvement in human trafficking. In the video posted online by the suspected attacker, he said he specifically wished to take revenge on Swedes in the name of Muslims, and the attack took place as the fans were gathering for the Sweden versus Belgium Euro qualifier.
The matter has been federalised with an investigation by the Federal Prosecutor's Office, justified by a potential terrorist motivation for the shooting. The Swedish nationality of the victims was put forward as the probable motive for the act. At this time, no element indicates a possible link with the Israeli-Palestinian situation.
Since August, Sweden's terror alert has been at its 2nd highest level, after Quran burnings and other acts desecrating the holy texts prompted outrage and protests in many Muslim-majority countries.
Health officials and aid agencies in Afghanistan's western province of Herat have set up medical tents to treat earthquake victims. The UN says recent earthquakes in the province killed more than 1,300 people and injured over 2,000 people.
This is one of the medical tents set up within Herat's regional hospital to treat those injured in a string of earthquakes that began on October 7. 4 major earthquakes hit northwest of Herat city in less than 10 days, destroying dozens of villages and killing over 1,300 people. UN officials say more than 2,000 people were injured in the earthquakes, and most of them were treated at this hospital.
My 9-month-old died in the crib. I don't know if they dug him out or not. I was outside with my other 2 children when the earthquake started at 11 in the morning. We were sitting outside the door when the earthquake started, and we rushed outside, and my child was left in his crib.
Another patient who was injured in the October 7th quake says she lost many relatives.
Our neighbor, my cousin, died. My uncle's wife died. My aunt died, and 3 of her grandchildren also died.
Hospital staff say patients are suffering from trauma.
They have suffered mentally and they need time to heal. Physicians from the mental health sector are helping with it, and those who have suffered more are transferred to the mental health section.
The UN says more than 43,000 people have been directly affected by the earthquake. Most of them are women and children. Hospital staff agree.
The
majority of those injured were children. Women came in the second number, and compared to them, there were fewer men.
Fearing additional earthquake and aftershocks, people in Herat city and surrounding districts have fled, and those who cannot afford to leave often prefer to stay in open areas.
We begin our sports roundup with the launch of the second edition of the Highway Covenant Tabernacle Church Half Marathon that will be held in Mangayane on the 9th of December this year, with different distances of 21 kilometers, 10 kilometers and 5 kilometers being the stages of the event. Sabelo Kumalo from the Highway Covenant Tabernacle Church believes this is in line with encouraging church members to exercise regularly and keep health.
Begin our sports roundup with the launch of the second edition of the Highway Covenant Tabernacle Church that will be held in Mangayane on the 9th of December this year, with different distances of 21 kilometers, 10 kilometers and 5 kilometers being the stages for the event.
About lifestyle diseases, nabasebenzisa their technical term bathi non-communicable diseases. Letibangwa unfitness of the physical body. Letfaka ekhathi some forms of cancer, tifaka ekhathi bo hypertension, bo diabetes and many others. Lesingeke swabale. So as a church we are saying, let's come and attend to imtimba yethu siyishukumise.
Eswatini Athletic Association has fully pledged their support to the event.
We want to pledge our full support as Athletics Eswatini. And as far as all the technical issues are concerned, the Federation will be there to assist and to ensure that when people come, they have a good experience. We are happy to be coming from Imbube, a marathon. We want to encourage Banfu out there to continue with this.
Eswatini Sports and Recreation Council, alongside the Eswatini Olympic Commonwealth Games Association, have also fully pledged their support towards the half marathon. Moving on to our other news, Jason Martin, who is one of the local skateboard coaches, he believes with enough support, the sport can grow and also dominate other regions of the country, following the positive reaction noted in the capital city since the sport was introduced.
Skateboarding has so many broad aspects. For me personally, and the NGO that I run, Eswatini Skate, what we try to instill here into the kids is youth development and women empowerment. So we've been trying to, our goal is to help kids progress and grow in not only their skateboarding ability, but in their everyday life. Their commitment to wanting to do something, teaching them about how failure is part of a progressive state, and it's not only about success, but once you've done 100 falls to get one success, you still got to take that a step further in order to be able to push yourself to the next level. And that's what our goal is here, being able to give kids that confidence to say that it doesn't matter how many times I've fallen, I'm going to get back up and try again. the main goal is to be able to get this as far and to as many points of the country as possible. However, as this is the first development in the country, we want to maintain doing something here and being able to understand how the programs can work and being able to maybe reach out to those communities and bring them here so that by the time we are ready to go and do little builds and developments in their communities, we now have a firm ground on how the maintenance work, how the progression works, and how we can handle working with kids on different levels.
In our international news, the city of Brussels came to a standstill when shots were fired, which saw the game between Belgium and Sweden under the 2024 Euro qualifiers being abandoned. Swedish supporters were reported to have spent the night under the protection of police. Lastly, under cricket, Australia have won their first 2023 Cricket World Cup game after defeating Sri Lanka by 5 wickets. Next in line, they face Pakistan on Friday. For Eswatini TV Sports, Robinson Sonera, Babane.
We've come to the end of our English bulletin. Thank you for staying with us. Let's take a break. We'll be back shortly.
Minutes after 7 kwalomuhle asiphinze sikwamukela ehlelweni shiloke naqala ihlelo ukuthi sitawukhulumisa indzaba ye-World Food Day. Takhumbula ukuthi ngemsombuluko mhla it was the 16th of October bekulusuku lweku-honorisha yona i-World Food Day. Siyafuna kenyalo ukuthi siyikhulumise kabanti kubuketa kabanti indzaba kwekuthi sicubulo selisuku lolubuke ukukhulumisa kudla lokwanele lonyaka ligcizelela bomcokwa bemanti empilweni kakhulukati ekukhiciteni kudla. Inhlangano yakamhlaba ke nenhlangano yekudla netekulima ithi wonke umuntu kufaka ikhathi bohulumende tinkampani letitimele balimi tifundziswa tisebente embuso nawo wonke nje umuntu akadlale inzima ekusombululeni insaya yekudla lokunganeli nalokude umsoco. Umsebenzi wenhlangano yekudla netekulima kuleli Food and Agriculture Organization netinhlangothi letine letibeke kuletha lusito loluhlukahlukene lapha events. Siyafuna ukukhulumisa masinyane with the country representative yayo lenhlangano FAO Khanyi Mabuza. Very good morning Mshengo, sikwamukele ehlelweni. How are you?
Ngiyaphila, ngiyabonga kakhulu nami.
Ngingenile ekhasini lenu lwaka social media kubuka nje imisebenzi leniyendako lapha event, but I think lokhu ngidrobe kakhulu ngilama 4 priority areas enu ekutheni lenifuna kuletha lusito ngawo lapha event. Faka ikhathi lusito lolubandi kutekulima lolutawusita ngalokuphelele nisike ngalesilumi pluralistic agricultural support systems and institutional strengthening and efficiency. Ngiyafuna ukuthi silikhulumise leliphuzu lesitabuka nje on4 sisabuka naye World Food Day. Engabe nasibuka nje lisito lolubandi kutekulima tindzabeni lesentisebentile kutheni kudla kube ngilokwanele lapha event nalokunemsoco very important nisebente kangakanani lapha?
Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Ngingasho ukuthi even la kangwane kusebentekile. Ngingathanda nje ukuthi ngicale ngokusho ukuthi le theme yalonyaka ngikuvile uyisho isho kona ukuthi emanti lokutsamcoka kangakanani nekuthi futhi emanti akudla ngokuthi sibekise nje ukuthi ngisho nemtimba yethu uyibuka yakhiwe kakhulu ngemanti half 50% emtimba yethu ngemanti bese uyabuka ukuthi na7 lonke vele 70% ngemanti lapho sikhulumela nelwandle nako konke lokusho ke ukuthi mhlawumhlangene nyalo FAO lesikhuluma ngako masikhuluma ngendzaba dekulima ngilobo umcoka kakhulu kwemanti ngokuthi asikhona ukukhicida kudla ngaphandle kwemanti utawubona ke nawe ukuthi nyalo kunalenkinga yegucugucuka kwesimo sekuna ngako kusifaka enkingeni ngokuthi singakhona ukukhicida kudla lokwanele kungako ke nemphathi lomkhulu waka FAO abona ukuthi kunaletinto letingfolo kufika ukuthi sina masisebenta nemave ethu lapho sikhona khona sente ngalokuqinisekile ukuthi vele siyakusebentisa lokuthi sokubukeke kongifonje ngaloku kushido lokuthi lokumcoka kakhulu nje kithi indlela yokuthi sesitawudima kanjani ngoba ngaleti ngcinama lesengikhulume ngato sokuswelakala kwemanti kuphinze bumcoka kokuthi bantfu abathuma badla bathole kudla lekunemsoco njengalokushido njena ngosukuthi kudla kumcoka kokuthi kungabi nje libhalishi ngiyabekisa nemshibo akwendakala ukuthi kudla kunako konke lokudzingekile lokwakha umuntu ukuthi aphile kahle nengcondo yakhe isebente ngalokufanele
ngitfola kulama priority areas. I think my favorite one ngilesi 2 letsinza kulima ngalokukhonsile nekwakha ematfuba etimakethe ngendlela lekhulisa umkhicito walapha eveni ngindlondlobalisa nje bakhiciti labancane ngitse sustainable agricultural productivity, market access and competitiveness, boosting domestic production and increasing market access for medium and small scale producers. Siyanbona ni hambela emimango. We see all the outreach programs that you are doing, but maybe because you're the right person to tell us about this particular wing yokuthi ni indlondlobalise kulima ngalokukhonsile nekusita labo somabhizinisi labancane engabe kulolo hlangothi nihambe kangaka.
Ngingasho ukuthi sibambisene nelitiko letekulima siyakuzama kukwenta lokho sicale ngokuthi sabuka ukuthi kwentiwa yini ukuthi singakhoni lokuthi sidondle thine la silivele elincane kangaka kwabonakala ukuthi labalimi bethu lengaphandle baswele nale mali yokuthi bakhonele ukulima sabona ukuthi lokumcoka asicale sibukede ukuthi singabasita njani sibabe nayo imali sahlala phansi nelitiko kwanyalo nje sikhuluma njena selivele litiko selicalile sibasitile ukuthi kube nalesikhwama semali labatayitfola balimi ukuthi bakhone lokulima saphinze sakha netindlela tinhlangano letihlukene kunetabo ka livestock kunalabo lama value chains ukuthi asibasite lama value chains abo awente azayofika ekugcinene marketeni ngoba la khaya imarket yethu lesiphilelako ngileyashukela kuphela leqala lephansi iziyofika etafuleni sifuna ke ukuthi naletilimo tonke leletinye tente kanjalo ukuthi umlimi athi ukuthi ulima ini nganini kuyo imarket yakhe nayo leqonzene nayo futhi uyofaka njengalokho nje kwenteka kashukela ukuthi angeke kuve ukuthi kungashukela lonzinzako kude imarket sifuna ke tonke letilimo dalabalimi dikhone ukuthi tiyofika kahle emakethe athole imali yakhe kahle angabe astrugglisha naye
engabe le appetite ingakanani kubo labalimi ngoba in as much as lama efforts angaba khona from the organizations and from government, I think Ministry of Commerce yake nje yabane kukhathatheka kutheni abantu labasha are not taking advantage of squam. Squam sikhona the Regional Development Fund sibonile former Minister David Kruzancampalala akhala ukuthi people are not really leveraging these opportunities are there. Engabe ngalanga gini nanikhulumisa the small scale businesses is the appetite niyayibona yini kulabalimi njengoba phela sale sisho ukuthi agriculture is the backbone of our economy. We do need the young people to have that appetite ukuthi but isukumele bete kutawuthatha nama opportunities len baphawu.
Ngingathatha kusho njena ukuthi nyalo sesibonile ukuthi nalokuthi sigcizelele kulabalimi lasebabadzala akusisidi kakhulu ngoba sebadzala and abasakhona nyalo sesibuketa ukuthi sesingalima njani lokuthi le agriculture attract the youth sike saba nje ne-youth indaba laphana kamavuso sikhombisa kona sayikhanza yinengi i-youth lene interest utakwati ukuthi i-youth bantu laba mobile ngeke nje ubabeke nyalo la bese ubakhombisa ukuthi ababuyele shaya ngelikhuba sekufuneka indlela sibuke indlela letinsha tekulima leti taba attractor bona ikhona ke i-youth lesivele ikhona le lenkhabukhabu lekhona yokuthi bayafuna sebabonile some of the youth baze basho ukuthi you know sispend isikhathi lesiningi sicabanga ukuthi umsebenzi lemihle ngiliyabothayi njengani kanzi imali imbamba ilapha emhlabathini. So they've realized that, which is very good. You will find there are lots of youth lele ngaphandle lesebenta kwi-agriculture. And when you see them ngaphandle ukhanza bathi sonkele babahle, but they know where they come from and bayasho and bebakhona laphana banema greenhouses labanye bayalima abantu labasha and sebabonile where the money is and ngibo labathi asisita basikhokhe out of poverty la kangwane.
Let's talk about the other wing, sustainable management of natural resources, strengthening adaptation to climate change while promoting the conservation of plant and animal biodiversity. Kunakekela nalokukhonsile temcebo waphansi nekumelelana nekuguquka kwesimo selitulu. I think the world is confronted by a pandemic, but here's another pandemic, climate change. Big confrontation, particularly ku agriculture. Engabe nisasebenza lenzaba leti sinibonile. I think Budla come out for bamboo cultivation project. A lot of projects that you're doing. Talk to us about some of these projects that our sita sive semaswati ukuthi sikhone kulima smart, like you have alluded previously. Netinzaba to ukuthi vele nakuguquka kwesimo selitulu sekhona. It's confronted us. How do we deal with it? How to silima kanjani?
Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Kungako nyalo sinema projects lamasha lesitaba nawo lamanye sesicalile kuwenta njengalokubalile lebamboo sinalo kuningi siyesifuna ukuthi uma kulinywa ngoba nyalo nje uyalibona la ngaphandle nyalo liyana but lina nje uma ukhumbula kahle kulima kangwane bokungaqali ngaNovember bekucalwa ngaAugust but nyalo uyabona sekushintshile simo kungiko sesitaba netindlela letinsha sakha nje sisebenyalo nje sibambisana nebese e-university kangwane le eluyengo sitokwakha indlela letinsha ukuthi uma kushintsha lesimo sekuguquguquka kwelitulu nathi kufuneka sishintshe letindlela tethu tekulima sesibona ukuthi kufuneka sale sicala le kuma universities nakhona siku-introduce indlela letinsha tekulima njengakona lokulima phansi kwalama tunnels siphinde si-introduce nekulima phansi shade letiyendzawo si-introduce indlela letinsha tekulima letitawukhonza ngoba sesibonile ukuthi akumsithi umlimi ukuthi aye ensimini asisolimile ucedzile lihambe litulu lingaphindze libuye liyoze libuye asavele asaphelelwe ngemandla netinkomo takhe setifile konke sekumphelele kunetindlela sifuna kodwa ukuthi ukucala kahle sicalile siyakwenda akhona abalimi bethu sebevele bacala kodwa sesifuna ukumikisa nase-university kusibaphume labantwana vele sebaqeqeshekile ngokuthi and sifuna ukuthi bese siba more innovative ukuthi singameli lama-tunnels labita kakhulu but sikhona kusebenzisa lesinako la ngiko nje sesicalile nangalabo bhambo sisacala but litiko lisibambisile sebenta nalo kakhulu nyalo ngenene university private sector sifuna nayo besekhathi tosibambisa because ngeke kwentwe ngumuntu munye kufuneka ukuthi sonke sibambisane.
Yeah, sisakhulumisa indzaba ukuthi wonke umuntu kufuna ukuthi abe khona kulomsebenzi. You also go out to communities lemaphandle just to empower them, you know, through awareness. Pinze ni bafundzisa nalokuthi vele imisebenzi yendiwa kanjani. I was actually looking online on some of the projects that you're doing. Sinibonile lemimangweni the Great Green Wall Initiative, which I very much like. Nangibuka lo ukuthi it focuses on community support. The initiative lo ukuthi nje kubukwe kutreat amadongas using bamboo and cultivate vegetables, nurturing a sustainable future for all. Let's talk about this project. Siyabona lemakhaya kunetinvonga man. Dinenge letinvonga mnenje leshiselweni siyabonga lo ukuthi ilitiko la tourism salibona lifika ekuhlanyelwa tihlahla. But here's another project lenayo as FAO. Talk to me about this particular project.
Leyo ke sesicalile nayo sicale sibambisana kakhulu nematiko lahlukene kusho ukuthi litiko lase-agriculture litiko laka-environment and tourism litiko leka-housing ngoba sibona ukuthi le nto ezetendekako angeke tisolve litiko linye noma abantu banye kufanele ukuthi sibambisane sebentane sebemadolobheni kulamalanga laphelile nje angathi noma benivile ukuthi kuko kwahamba bonke bo-CEO bemadolobha kwahamba bo-PS balamatiko lengwabalile kwayiwa le eRwanda siyofunza nakulabanye ukuthi bona bento enjani kushintsha utakhumbula ukuthi iRwanda ibuyaphi kuyobuketa ukuthi bona bento enjani ukuthi bashintshe live labo libe ngalendlela lengiyo yona ngoba kuqala lendve yaka environment iqala nalamadolobheni iye nalemakhaya kuvaleke lamadonga lokhuluma ngawo kuvaleke nale dolobha lethu libe ngoba lama plastic leswakhanza koseloku nawo ayinkinga la emangweni tinkomo debantu tiyafa tibulawe kusitidle ama plastic siyalahla nje sinoma kanjani so sesiqalile leyo and we continue doing that bambisene kakhulu nalitiko laka environment ngoba PS wakhona nguye vele lo sisitako nakulama funds aka environment sesendela ukuthi sitakalele live la kangwane ukuthi ithole letimali tokuthi sikhone kadressa lo khuluma ngako njena ukuthi sikhone kuvala letindvonga sikhone ukuthi live la kangwane nalo kubuyele libe lihlata njengaloku lifanelene kuphindze kutokhonza nalemvelo kuphindze futhi nempilo yebantu ibe ngile improvekile ngingasho nje ukuthi sisayiqalile leyo yaka Green City siyayisebenta and ngisatobona lokunengi kwenteka but usaqala
we did see that you are working on a robust framework and policy incentives that are khulumisa letindzaba leti particularly climate risk management tool. Engabe, how far with that development? When do we see it coming into fruition? Because we may have all these aspirations. Everyone can see the problems that are confronting the world, but they cannot be without these policy frameworks and all these incentives. Sesivelo kusikhwaleni lenifakile ebhodweni engabe sibona ukuthi itawuphasa nini it's an exciting
it's exciting and siyathemba ukuthi njengalamatiko lesebenta nawo lengwabalile ikakhulu lona leli la agriculture leko ukuthi le policy we should start with the policy khona stokhona ukuthi bese siyafaka sisidakwenda kanjani bese siyakhona ukuthi le implementation yakhona ibe ihambe kahle vele sesicalile ngoba uyabona nale tehlakalo setine ngakhulu letendekako ngakho kufuna vele sihlale sitilungiselele sisaqala la ku policy siyathemba ukuthi kutofika lo mnyaka lotako ngoba sosemnyango kube vele sesisebenta sesicalile kusebenta lokho ukuthi sadeke ukuthi lama tools lesiwakhako siwasebenzisa kanjani
siyathi ke ukuthi in the quest to escape food insecurity at the heart yemsebenzi yenu unasi sivele sikhanza ukuthi siphila ne-deficit chronic diseases naba lokhanza ukuthi baphila with HIV and AIDS engabe in that quest nisasebenza lo msebenzi loyo maybe in your reports how far have you come in assisting lesive lesiphila ne-tifo
athine komsebenzi wethu ngoba njengaloku singishito esiqaleni kokuthi nale theme yalonyaka ithi emanti kudla sikhulumisa kakhulu silapha kakhulu ngalokudla thina vele we advocate ngenzaba yekudla ukuthi kithi kudla kungumuthi lokho ukuthi that's why we advocate ukuthi bantu abadle kahle kudla lokungiko and run away from kudla lokungasiko ngoba kudla ngolokutakulapha kuma chronic diseases njengabo bonke labo diabetes bo cancer everything konke kuhambelana nalokuthi sente kahle ukuthi kudla lokudliwa abantu ungolokuphilisako lokulaphako lomtimba ngoba liphilisi uma kude kudla angeke liphilisi lize likusite uyositwa ngokuthi uthole kudla lokunothile lokungona kwakhe emtimbeni ukuvikela etifeni kukunike nalamandla la enough ukuthi ukhona kusebenza so thina vele sibuketa kakhulu la kudleni ngiko sithi akulinywe bantu abafundziseke ukuthi kulinywe baphinze kuphekwe kahle kudla kuphinzele ukudla lokulinyiwe kube kudla lokwakhako lamdimbeni so thina vele sithi umuthi wethu wetifo ngilokudla then anything else can follow leliphilisi elingalandzela But first and foremost is the good food and good nutrition.
Bayasho bodokotela ukuthi na utawunatha liphilisi at least kudlani kudla lokunethako tonke letiphelele. Liphilisi lisebenza kangcono nalo nalikhanza lokudla kufike kahle lapha emntimeni. Mshengo, thank you so much for your time. Sinifisela inhlanhla nisaqhubeka nemsebenzi wenu lomkhulu nakangaka. I'm saying it's important work because our strategic roadmap Silive la Angwane does recognize agriculture as a key economy for umnotho welive la Angwane, and indeed it is the backbone of the economy. It has proposed 21 projects worth 5.361 billion emalangeni. Ama projects ke lawa lata create employment opportunities labalelwa ku 6,044 emaswati. Ma projects la include ekhathi various agricultural value chains la fire ekhathi staple food lokungumbila, kube dairy, kube forestry, baby vegetables, citrus, banana, poultry and the fisheries industry. Most importantly, the agriculture sector ke iphinze benglama projects that address food insecurity problem by ensuring the increase in local white maize production for an additional 40,000 metric tons, an increase in yellow maize production to meet an immediate target of 25,000 metric tons. Nalemnye nje imisebenzi kusikhombisa ukuthi nangemambala i-agriculture yi-backbone ye-economy yelive la Angwane. Sibahla ukuthi market masinyane sitawuvala lihlelo nasibuya.
We at Eswatini Television Authority are committed to observing the Eswatini Communication Commission's Broadcasting Code of Conduct.
Under the code, we are committed to broadcast news that is current, free from hate speech, accurate, balanced, and fair.
From politics to business, health, agriculture, courts, and global news, we bring you the latest updates as they happen, when they happen.
We cover all the sporting codes from the football pitch to the chessboards.
This is Eswatini TV News.
It's after 7, Lulu. There you have it, exactly like we had predicted. The two conversations that we had, Nemages Ed for Telana Kulu, Bumkogwa Bemandi,
Water is life.
August. We're now speaking on the Nzaba Emandi as a natural resource. Emandi, Belkala Gunagashanga August. But nyalo na ungathi nje uyakhumbula lo nyaka ukuthi imvula utigcineni. It's pretty much this week alone.
So lina kancane nje lithi tiyabuya phindze futhi tinyamalale tibuye phindze futhi tinyamalala. So I guess lebe sikhuluma ngako nje na PS ukuthi vele it's safe lokho ukuthi vele mangabe umfuyi noma umlimi vele le water harvesting vele uyende make sure ukuthi uyenda kahle. I think utichaze nje inhlobonhlobo sifiso especially for balimi mhlambe labana ama backyard gardens noma ke labanayo le mfuyo ukuthi vele babe nalamathangi phindze futhi bakhe nale migodi. Also insisted ukuthi uma ngabe ufuna kuba naleli thanga ngibeke sure ukuthi uyasibuka ne season ukuthi ngabe isizini le kanjani ngoba uchaze nje ukuthi ngabe ku season lapho khona kushiswa kakhulu mhlambe tshani noma atibi uyagcizelela ukuthi vele kukabi le season le ngalokuthi bese lokho lokushisiwe kuhlala letilo ma Thailand so kucwana lokuthi kubuke lokho ukuthi yi season yiphile takulungela ukuthi khona kwakho ngedela lamande.
Lulu usakhuluma indaba ukuthi nje ama backyard gardens. You'll remember it was May 15 this year when former Minister of Agriculture, who is now the Speaker of the Parliament, Mr. Jabulani Mabuza, launched the backyard garden program. Etseni sive semaswati indzaba ke lena lele yokuthi vele sisombulule insaya lenkulu ye food insecurity. Emaswati akalime emakhaya. Make Mabuza uyasuka nyalo lana uthinza indzaba yokuthi njengoba sitibona timvula ukuthi sedincane. Maswati ke asalo alima smartly. Uyayithinza indzaba yokuthi abantu labasha kungathi ngibo lokufuna bayisukumise ke bayihambele phambili lendzaba lena yokulima emakhaya balime smartly banayo ke inhlanhla ukuthi ke bantu labasha sebakufunzele a lot of them ubekusengeliyengo ukuthi bafunza lapha eliyengo they can indeed start this backyard gardens balime under the shade to escape indzaba yelitulu lungelele sithanda ukukhuluma ngathi litulu selincane but kuba kuncane kwelitulu kusho ukuthi lilanga selinenge tilimo setithola kushiswa lilanga kakhulu so khale tindlela leti smart bo FAO labafundzisa sive ngato ukuthi abalime ngephansi kwemitfundi kube ne shelter letside nalabo water harvesting bobasho lungelele all these smart ways or innovative ways tekulima. I think it's also,
and of course the tunnel farming, though it's quite expensive, because the PS did mention that it cost over 200,000. So as much as it is convenient and more efficient, but it is expensive. So as a group or as a community, I think we've seen young people some of these organizations, Women Farmer Foundation, we are going to and the number of people that register with the organizations, more young people are into agriculture and farming.
Yeah, and I think Bantu Labasha can really leverage this opportunity. The Regional Development Fund would, because the Regional Development Fund now motivate ukuthi bantu abaqalela amabhizinisi by group as cooperatives ngeke uqale owedwa and kuyasita la ukuthi ke lemi mangweni sikhona la ukuthi sithuthuke sonke. And while the country is confronted by indzaba youth unemployment, this is a perfect opportunity for Bantu Labasha ekutheni na agriculture, which has been recognized, by the way, as a key growth sector, i-backbone ye-economy live la Kangwane. Bantu Labasha can indeed leverage this opportunity, and who knows, we can sell domestically and maybe outside of the country. This is a great opportunity that we could really tap into.
Yeah, all right, it's 3 minutes before 8 o'clock. Hope on the show. But if you've just joined us, worry not. You can still watch this episode of Kusile Breakfast Show on our YouTube page, Eswatini TV. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a lovely day.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to yet another show-stopping episode of Eswatini Lifestyle right here on Eswatini TV, Sibugo Samaswati. Of course, I know this is your favorite show and this is your favorite presenter, Chukil Dlamini. So today, you can see it's a sunny day. We're outside, and I always urge Emaswati to always go out and discover new places, to always go out, try out new things. And today, in Eswatini Lifestyle, we landed in the heart of Manzini. We are at Manzini Junction, here to have an experience of Precious Beauty Parlor and Coffee Shop. I am so excited. I cannot wait. Some of you may know and some of you may not know that this is not a new joint, if I may say. Precious Beauty Parlor and Coffee Shop has been around for a year, but they've recently just added the sauna and the coffee shop. How amazing is that? So Njanga Chukela Meninge and Eswatini Lifestyle, we're here to check out the place and we're going to have a wonderful experience. Follow me.
Uyezwana. Uyezwana. Uthokandaba. Emagumbamane omhlaba. Ngemandla. Sibaya. Esigodlweni elitsitsini. Mhlati ngemashumi lamabili nakuthathu. Imbala. Usho njalo ke Mswazi omnyama kulaba luthuli. Ulodvunganzaba wasembelebeleni. Ulodvunganzaba wasemambondweni. Uduma phasi bakuzwe ngezingcingo msakandaba. Bakuzwa ngezingcingo bayakubalekela. Bayethe. Wena waphaka.